Let's go to the game. What do you expect? What are you looking for in the game?
Okay. We've talked about this before, but I have a tough time judging running backs and linebackers in practice because they're not tackling. And I don't really understand how you fully judge those positions. Linebacker, and I mean, D Winters made a great play in coverage today. That's great. That translates. But running the ball, tackling, stopping the run seems like you have to see that in a game. So I really want to see Mykel Williams in that regard. We can see his pass rush moves. He's a work in progress. It'll take him years to be someone who's a great pass rusher, but he's supposed to be a great run defender right now, immediately. So I just want to see, what does that look like? He's going to, again, be going up against Mike McGlinchey, who is supposed to be who is a pretty good run blocker. Who gets the best of that matchup? That'll be interesting.
Okay.
And then there's the 3rd round pick, Nick Martin, the linebacker. He's competing with D Winters. D Winters is better in coverage than Martin. He broke up a long pass intended for McCaffrey today, ran with him stride for stride. That was impressive. But he was on the field last year when the Niners were getting gashed by running backs. He's not always in the right space, the right gap. Is Martin? Is he a violent tackler like Greenlaw? Is he going to be making plays in the backfield? If so, he'll start. If not, he'll be Winters' backup. It's 2. And then Stout, the nickelback, he's 5'8", and he's good in coverage, but they say that he's even better at tackling and stopping the run, and he throws his body around like a linebacker. That'll be fun to watch. So he might be the guy who hits the hardest.
I love it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to watch in the game.
It's a lot to watch in the game. All the rookies. I mean, all the rookies should play. I don't care if they're expected to start or not. If you're expecting to take lumps, put them in the freaking preseason game so they get as many reps as possible so you can take fewer lumps during the actual season.
Also, Mac Jones, I assume he's going to play at least a half or 3 quarters, Iggy. I don't think Purdy's going to play.
He could play the whole game because the only other quarterback on the roster is Carter Bradley, who's been on the team for about a week.
Okay. So you learn.
I think Mac Jones numbers for you. You want some Mac Jones numbers? I tallied them up. Now these are just training camp stats, but through 11 days, he's 117 of 148. That's a completion percentage of 79. And he has thrown 2 picks. So 2 picks in 148 attempts, that's 1.3%. That's really good. Now, he's playing with backups against backups, and he's not nearly as mobile as Purdy, so maybe he is getting sacked, and I don't know it. But it looks like he's processing information, reading defenses very fast, making good decisions, and throwing accurate passes. So I'd love to see if that actually translates, or if he's just a practice mirage. I think it's going to translate, but I don't know.
Well, you know what? We don't know the answer. That's why we're going to watch this game. It's educational for us and for fans and for the team. So I don't know how he's going to do, but I'm very interested to see.
Because with Brock always throws a lot of picks in camp. He does it every year. Right now, he's throwing picks on 5.5% of his throwing attempts, which is outrageous. He doesn't do that in the actual games, not that much. So what he would say is that he's, working on things, learning what he can and can't get away with. You might argue, if that's the case and you get better from that, you could argue maybe Mac's not being aggressive enough. Maybe Mac's trying to get through practices and not make mistakes so that people like me say he's having a good camp. And then when it's actual game, he's playing cautious and he's not letting it rip. That could be the case. Or you practice like you play and he's having a great camp and it'll translate. We'll see.
Yeah. And we don't need to have the answer before it happens.
Right. It'll be fun to learn.
I got a question for you. Is Kyle Shanahan going to call the plays?
That's interesting. Because there was at least one preseason game last year where he let Clay Kubiak do it.
But
and they had a regular season game too. Yeah.
There's been 18. More than one time that he hasn't. And look, I think it's cool. This is no criticism. For a guy who I think has forget it. It shows to me that he has a more flexible personality than sometimes I think he does. So if he has someone else call the plays, I think that would be really cool. And I'd really love to know what's going to happen. Maybe after the practice, you could say, are you going to call the plays or is somebody else just curious?
Great call.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he has let Clay Kubiak call plays in the past in the preseason. Even he did it week 18 last year. You just promoted him to offensive coordinator. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Maybe Gary called him up and said, hey, my son, who you just promoted to offensive coordinator? Remember when I let you call plays when you were in your 20s? Yeah. That's right.
Or maybe
Yomi.
maybe Kyle's just a generous guy. Let's not
He's
talk
always
about
seemed like
pressure.
a very generous person, so I'm going to give him that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so this is no implied criticism. It's just you're curious. You're a journalist, and as a journalist, you have limitless curiosity. I'm curious about everything, and I'd like to know that, and it might influence how I watch the game.
I love it. I got more people. Well, first of all, I want to see what Robert Saleh. It's all going to be vanilla, right? But he's going to show something. What do you show? Are you going to show some pressures on third down? Are you going to show some fronts that aren't the wide nine? Who are you going to use where? He's going to have to show some of his cards in this game. I want to see which cards he shows.
I love it. I love it. So this game is educational all around.
I got more. There's some more players. So the rookies are important, but there's other players the Niners have drafted that maybe we've given up on or have critical seasons ahead of them that I want to learn about, like Spencer Burford. They drafted him 3 years ago. He was a left tackle in college. They've tried to move him to guard. It didn't work so well. He's not a starter. He's now the backup left tackle. And on this team, the backup left tackle is really important because Trent Williams always misses a game or two every season. Last year was 7 and he's 37. So what does he look like? Can the Niners win a game with Spencer Burford, the tackle converted to guard, converted back to tackle, playing left tackle? Or are they in trouble? We'll see how good he plays at this position. Also, there's like Darrell Luter Jr. He's a cornerback they drafted 2 years ago. And the Niners a couple of times have drafted a quarterback in like round 5, never given him a chance, cut him, then they get signed immediately by another team and start. Last year was Samuel Womack who did that. Before that, DJ Reed a few years ago, they cut him and he's been a very successful starter in the NFL. This guy is a 5th-round pick from like a couple of years ago. Are they going to cut him and is he going to go somewhere else? Is there anything there with this guy? I want to know. He's important.
I love it.
Those are two. Anyway. What?
No, go on.
Kev says best food city in the division: Seattle, Phoenix, LA, or San Jose. Ooh, the Niners don't even get San Francisco anymore. That's pretty rough.
Okay, hold on. If you had included San Francisco, that would have been the answer.
Yeah.
Hands down. So, but San Jose, forget it. Iggy, I can't speak to LA. I don't go there very much. Seattle is a wonderful food city. I don't think Phoenix is.
LA is like New York in the sense that it's such a big city that you can find really great stuff. It's just everything's hard to get to because it's so spread out. But
you got to he went to college in LA. You got to remember that.
Seattle's great. Seattle has all that fresh fish and incredible Japanese food. Also, they have that wonderful steakhouse we like to go to, the Metropolitan Grill. Phoenix, Phoenix is at the bottom. SF's at the top. Probably LA above Seattle, but Seattle's just so accessible when you're in downtown and you can just walk around everywhere you want to be, as opposed to LA, which is like fucking awful.
Yeah, San Jose, we eliminate. San Francisco would be the best if it were there, but they, Iggy, it's a funny thing. They don't play in San Francisco.
What a mistake, Dad. Which steakhouse do you prefer? Metropolitan Grill, Musso and Frank.
Okay. That's interesting. Musso and Frank is a legendary restaurant. It's at Hollywood, right, Iggy?
It's on Hollywood Boulevard.
Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah. And Iggy and I, even when he was in college, I would drive down and I would take him and his friends out to Musso and Frank. So let me say this. Mm-hmm. Metropolitan Grill is a better restaurant, but Musso and Frank is iconic.
Yeah.
It's an iconic. So I kind of prefer Musso and Frank, the ambiance, the waiters, the whole thing, and the history. But the other place is a better restaurant.
It's too bad that the Rams are in LA. It's just not a fun road trip. I don't even do it. Like I'll fly in the morning of and leave the night of, because if you stay there, you have to stay by LAX. And then when you want to go out to dinner, it's like an hour Uber ride and an hour back. It's just it's too bad that instead of having teams in LA, they should be in San Diego. It's such a centrally located downtown with a great steakhouse. Might be my favorite steakhouse in the country. You haven't been there yet. It's called Born and Raised. I'm going to take you. You're going to love it.
Okay. Could
Yeah,
I ask a non-football, unless you got more coming in? We got a few more minutes, and then I got things to do. But Iggy, is there going to be a fight between this Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez?
I don't know.
Everybody's everybody's talking about it.
Hold on. Seems like it. September 13th.
Okay, everybody's talk. Okay, have you ever? You've seen? We've both seen Canelo fight.
I've seen Canelo fight.
He's a very good fighter, Iggy. He's not a
Yeah.
great fighter.
No.
I mean, he's gotten beat. He's not a great fighter, but he's a very good fighter. He's tough. He takes a shot, and he really hits hard with his right hand. Have you ever seen this Terrence Crawford fight?
I have not seen Terrence Crawford fight.
Okay, here's the thing. He's a southpaw. He's very slick. He's very fast. He's very clever, very smart, and he hits hard. But Iggy, he's a welterweight. And Canelo is a big middleweight. There's probably 15 pounds at least difference between them. And that worries me from the point of view of this Terrence Crawford. The thing in boxing is when you go up two divisions, not one, when you go up one division, do you carry your punch with you? Some people do, some people don't. Go up two divisions, do you carry your punch? Plus, Iggy, they're both old. They're both in their late 30s.
Yeah, Crawford's even older than him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it seems more almost like an exhibition because they're both past their prime. But since there is so little of interest in boxing these days, I'm interested in that. And I think maybe I'll watch that fight.
I think maybe I'll watch it with you, and then we could talk about it afterward. I think people like watching a fight, and everyone's going to watch that fight, and it'll be an event, and we can talk about it. You could talk about it. You actually know what you're talking about when it comes to boxing.
Anyway,
do you have an opinion on who's going to win?
Canelo, because I think he's too big.
Yeah.
I think, here's the thing. I think the other guy, look, and I could be all wrong. I think the other guy is going to be shocked, Crawford, at how hard Canelo's punches are and how he can't move Canelo physically across the ring because he's bigger and he's going to want to push sometimes. He's not going to move. Canelo's not going to move. And I think that's very scary. What are you laughing at?
This is my favorite shit that my dad does. So my dad is a great sports analyst. He's been doing it forever, but boxing is by far, like, he is a boxing expert. He's not asking questions. When I ask him about what's going to happen when one fighter fights another, he'll be like, I don't know. And then he'll just visualize the whole fight and tell you what's going to happen. You just did it right there. You just visualized the fight. I remember you did it. I was a sophomore in high school, and I went out to winter ball, and Tyson was fighting Lennox Lewis. And I asked you, Dad, who's going to win? And you're like, Lennox Lewis is going to stop him in the 8th round. I was like, well, that's specific. And you're like, well, we'll see. And I went out bowling afterward, and I saw the result, and it was like, Tyson stopped in the 8th or whatever. I was like, my dad fucking called it. It's like, yeah, I've been doing this for a while. I've watched a lot of fights.
I love boxing. I've watched thousands of fights in my life.
Yeah.
And I've been to so many fights. It's my favorite sport. It is by far. It's my favorite sport. But I lived through one of the golden ages of it, and now no more. So I don't much pay it. I don't even know who the heavyweight champion is. There's like 7 heavyweight champions. So I don't understand.
It doesn't matter. It's just like they just try to set up these celebrity matchups, and boxing becomes so like debased or whatever you want to call it. Most of the time, the big fight that month or whatever is between 2 guys who aren't professional boxers. It's some stupid shit.
Yeah.
So at least these guys are actual professional boxers, even if they're over the hill and not the
good.
Same. Yeah.
Iggy, this Crawford is undefeated.
Oh,
undefeated.
Oh, so there's a lot at stake.
Yeah, it's a fight that I'm going to watch.
I gotta say, I respect it because he's putting his undefeated streak on the line to go up 2 weight divisions and potentially lose. It would have been cool to see fucking Floyd Mayweather do some shit like that. I keep cursing. But it would have been nice to see Floyd do something like that when he mattered. He never did that.
No, Floyd was a great fighter, but Floyd was a safety first fighter. He wouldn't fight Pacquiao until Pacquiao was half dead. He had a million excuses. Oh, he's on this, he's on that. The point is he waited. You know, Sugar Ray Leonard wouldn't have waited.
Nope.
He went and fought.
And the reason boxing was so healthy, one of the reasons was so vibrant in the 80s is because there were a lot of good boxers and they fought each other in their primes, as opposed to Mayweather, who wouldn't do that. I think he did a disservice to the whole sport, not to single him out, but imagine if he had actually fought Manny Pacquiao 5 times in their prime, the way that Sugar Ray Robinson fought Jake LaMotta.
They fought 5 times, and LaMotta beat Ray Robinson for his first ever defeat. Look, the way I visualize fights, I respect Mayweather Jr. He's very good. But if you put him up against the greats of the 80s and 90s, Ray Leonard, Hearns, they would chase him out of the ring, Iggy. Those 2 guys would chase him out of the ring.
Well, to bring back what we were saying earlier, wouldn't Mayweather have been technically smaller than them?
He was a welter. He came up to welter, and he fought welter a lot.
That's true. And Leonard was a middle.
No, he's a welter. He and Hearns as well. They were both welterweight champions. And I think Hearns would have knocked them out. Ray would have cut him. He wouldn't have finished the fight. Or Ray, it would have been such a lopsided decision for Ray. I got one more topic. Okay. And then we'll go. A lot of you mentioned to me this week that 7 players got cut in one day. So I have a question for you, Iggy, because these are young men. This is their dream. They've prepared for this, and then they're told, grab your stuff and go away. Get out of here. You're out of here. Do you feel sorry for them?
No. Sometimes I put myself in their shoes and I could be like, oh, that must be tough. But then I realize I'm not in their shoes, and they've made it this far and they understood what they got themselves into. And just because they got cut today doesn't mean they won't be signed somewhere else tomorrow or back in this building in a week. I mean, it's not over for them a lot of the time.
But some of them it is over for.
And for them, again, this is what you wanted to do, and you're entering the NFL, which is the not for long league, and maybe just making it at all is a accomplishment in and of itself.
Yes, and Iggy, I would add that in a sense, not in a sense, for sure, they made a free choice to put themselves into a position where they're judged by coaches and scouts. They made that decision. They could have gone and been an orthodontist. And the minute you made that decision, you've decided that someone's going to decide about you, that you're either going to make it or not make it. So because of the initial decision they made to try to make it, they, in a sense, are complicit in the decision for them to get cut.
Yes. Yeah. Free choice.
Free choice. And what I just gave you is the very famous French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre. That's what he would have told them, that don't feel bad. You made a free choice, and the repercussions of the free choice is that you got cut. Another repercussion is that you could have made it. But if you had chosen something else, if you had chosen to go to graduate school to get an MBA, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. And if you were looking for a vocation that you could do into your 60s, this wasn't the one. It was always going to end like this at some point.
Exactly. Yeah. So
someone telling you it's not you can't do it anymore. You got to go. And you could retire or you could get cut. One or the other.
Yeah. So I want to say to the guys who got cut, I'm not cold about you. I understand how you feel, and I have empathy for you. But finally, I admire the choice you made, and it didn't work out right. That's a life lesson, because a lot of choices that people make, in fact, in every life, there are choices that don't work out right in every life. And you just learned it early.
Yeah. And if you're like an undrafted free agent and you got cut, I mean, it doesn't mean that you made the wrong choice to pursue this and go this far. It means that maybe you achieved much more than you ever expected. And that's a success. Yeah.
It doesn't make you a loser.
No.
It means you put yourself on the line. I admire that. So
anyway, I didn't make varsity baseball.
And look,
I'm
and
saying,
you never recovered.
I've never
again.
recovered. My psyche and my ego has never recovered. All day, every day. Kim says, Cohn Crew, how do you think Brock would do under Harbaugh versus Trey? Jim loves upside. I'm going with Jim was joking with Trey. I'm going with Jim. Was joking with Trey. It was fantastic to see. How would Brock do with Harbaugh?
Iggy, here's the thing. I have to honestly say I don't know the answer to that.
I think he'd do pretty well.
I think he'd do pretty well. I think as an outsider, I think Jim would have built him up a little more. And I think Kyle tends to be a little more critical. But so was Bill Walsh, and he had very successful quarterbacks. So I think he would have done well with Harbaugh, but I can't say he would have done better with him than he would do with Kyle. I don't know. I wish I had an answer.
I don't know that Harbaugh would want Brock. And here's why. Because Brock's supposed to be really good at reading defenses quickly. Harbaugh and Roman just want to simplify all that stuff for people. They're not like that would be lost. They wouldn't take advantage of Brock Purdy's best attributes. They would would simplify the game for a guy who doesn't need a game simplified for him. And then his limitations would come out. Oh, your arm isn't as strong. We need you to make this throw over here. Like, well, okay. For Kyle, he doesn't give a damn about arm strength, really. Like, you need to make this throw over the middle, and you need to put it over the linebacker and in front of the safety with touch, and you got to do it fast. And so I think it's Kyle's kind of quarterback.
You know what, Iggy? I love your answer, and I couldn't have thought of that myself. The answer is Jim probably wouldn't have wanted him. He wanted Kaepernick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. He wanted Trey. Grunt Bone says Lowell UFC 319, Kamzat versus DDP, both undefeated for the belt. I bet you that's something you're not going to watch.
You know, here's the thing. I have nothing against UFC. And one of my best friends, Gary Furness, is a doctor, and he does a lot of doctoring for you, medical stuff for UFC. I respect the sport, but I don't know about the sport because it's antithetical to a boxing person. And I'll give you some examples. The gloves they wear those little gloves. And the reason they wear those little gloves, and it's a kind reason, is because you can't punch hard for a long period of time with those little gloves. It hurts your hands. So it actually protects the opponent. And that's a nice thing. On the other hand, in UFC, when someone's down, you could hit him or her. You can't do that in boxing. So it is alien to me and maybe hard for me to watch. When a fighter goes down, you go to the neutral corner, who knocked them down, and the referee says, go to the neutral corner. That doesn't happen in UFC. So it's against everything I believe in, Iggy.
Yeah.
Having said that, my brother's son, Scott Cohn, is an artist. And Iggy, a couple of years ago, or just a year ago, he did a poster for, He did a poster for UFC, which I have hanging right outside this door here. And UFC treated him beautifully. And he's a real fan. And he did the official poster for UFC number something or other. And it's right out here.
It's really nice, too. Draco says first unofficial depth chart got released. Yeah, I checked it out. It's what you would expect. We can go over it next time. But now it's time for the Cohns to shove off. Dad, best show ever, and I love you.
I love you, Iggy. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you guys. Thanks for watching.